Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 379, and today we're doing battle with the Trundle Timelines. And so, this is our second video of the 4.5 patch. The Eternal Season is here, the Variety Patch is here, the updates, buffs, and nerfs to the Eternal collection of cards is here as well, and we're excited to come in and do some battle with this. And so, this deck does feature a lot of the new changes that were coming out of the new set. I'd like to call out some of these as we go through the Timelines deck. If you're not familiar with the Concurrent Timelines, it's back to its original version to where it costs 1 mana, and the idea with the Concurrent Timelines is you're trying to play units that have terrible stat lines but really powerful abilities, and then as you get to change that unit into something better, then you're getting a really high-statted unit along with a very good ability. And so the main way that we look to go about this is going to be with the Forge mechanic. And so Piltovan Castaway, not particularly exciting stat line at 2-1, but if we've played the Concurrent Timelines, we get to play this unit, we get the Improvise, we get the Attune, so we get the mana back, but then we get to convert him into a better 3-cost unit, ideally a 3-3 or a 3-4, or maybe even a blocking Badger Bear. You never know, you might turn it into a 4-4. And so we carry that idea throughout the entirety of the deck. We play things like Pharaoh's Financier as a way to again, have a poorly statted unit that generates a card. But the new addition to this style of deck for us is going to be the Augmented Clockling. This is a very powerful card, a unit that comes into play, gives us a predict, gives us a card draw, and then converts into ideally maybe a 5/5 or so worth of stats. The big thing with the Augmented Clockling is it does let us dig. So if we haven't found a Concurrent Timelines yet, we can play the Clockling on turn 4, get that predict in. If we hit the Concurrent Timelines, we can now play it for free, and that's going to be a pretty good deal as the future turns come along. It also lets us have a little bit of search and cycle in our deck, so if we need to try and find something like Feel the Rush, if we want to try and find It That Stares or Buried in the Ice, we have this nice way to get a little bit of search and cycle going on. The last thing I really want to take note of is the Innovative Blacksmith. This was a card that showed up in the Variety set. I've been quite impressed with the Blacksmith. It's a 2/2 with Improvise for 3, which is pretty standard as far as Improvise units are concerned, but that is a pretty powerful stat line. But it also adds in this extra bit of text to where each round, the first time you forge or equip an ally, you get to heal your Nexus 1. And so this unit has been very good and very successful in terms of just healing for 2 and 3 and 4 damage. It's not something that sounds like a lot, but when you consider you've gotten 6 or 7 stats plus a keyword plus 2 or 3 points of heal, that's a pretty good deal coming out of a 3-cost unit. We also have a handful of additional ways to take advantage of that forge. Favored Artisan here with the time and dedication generating the forge card, so we can potentially get additional forges down the road even without the artisan still sticking around. And that all kind of ties in nicely. The thing we will have to watch out with the Innovative Blacksmith is sometimes we want the blacksmith on board after we've played the timelines, and so we may have to kind of set up some of these boards to where we stall on playing the timelines until after turn 3, or we play a unit, have the timelines hit, and then follow up with the Innovative Blacksmith after the fact. But nonetheless, still very powerful card. Glad that we get to feature it today. And as we jump into battle, it's going to get featured a little bit more. You know what we got to do? We got to go in and pay the pay-to-win price. This one's going to be ready to go. Not Favored Artisan. Get out of here. Here we go. Innovative Blacksmith getting that premium treatment, putting those premium equipments into our hand. I'm excited to jump into battle. I hope you are too. So we're calling this one the Burblefish Timelines. I didn't realize this as the sets rotated and concurrent timelines was taken out of standard, that Wiggly Burblefish now costs 8 mana. So if you're not familiar with one of the major combos in this deck, is we're playing Trundle. Trundle puts the Ice Pillar in your hand. Ice Pillar is a 8 mana unit that gives you that 8 mana back as you play it. So if you've played the concurrent timelines, you get to add the Ice Pillar to the board. That's going to convert into an 8-cost unit. It's going to get the vulnerable. It's going to give you all that mana back so you can do something else after the fact. But you can now hit Wiggly Burblefish as an 8-cost unit. Not the best choice for converting an 8-drop, but hey, you might find a space to where you really need that elusive unit to come through. But back into the battle here, we're up against Caitlyn Teemo. I'm going to mulligan pretty hard and look for our concurrent timelines. I'll hang on to Thermogenic Beam, so if opponent has a turn 1 Teemo, we have the way to take it down, and then we'll get rid of everything else and look for our namesake spell. All right, opponent's not coming at us too quick. This is kind of interesting with all of the cycle that we have in hand. I think we'll go ahead and get rid of It That Stares since we're not really looking to play 8 mana units anytime soon. Now we get to see if our opponent boomed us, if they're going to stall on the Teemo and play him after the removal spells have passed. Is not. they say no thank you. And so can't blame them for that. But with this, I feel reasonable getting the favored artisan on board. It should be bigger than all of the units the opponent can provide. Happy enough to trade out with the Otterpuss here. It's just, we have opportunities to get a lot of very stat-heavy units on the board, and so it's very realistic that 4 or 5 turns from now, that Otterpuss would be able to block a 6 or a 7 attack unit. So I'm glad to go ahead and get that out of the way. Now, do we want to go ahead and beam off this Peddler? I don't think we do. It's not a really high-valued unit. I don't care about too many of our units, and so we'll just take the value play here, getting rid of the time and dedication. See if we can't dig up this Thermogenic Beam somewhere. Oh boy, a 13-cost Fielder Rush. It's doable. It's doable, but he goes for the unit instead. Kind of annoying because I want to be discarding the time and dedication, so we'll just go ahead and pass the turn. See what we can do here. Oh, there's the timelines. The opponent doing us a favor, right? turning the artisan into a 3-cost unit so we get a stronger timelines this turn. Not necessarily better, just a stronger one, I guess. Appreciate it, bro. Out there loving Alaska. Can't hate on that. So let's see. Favored artisan comes in. Too bad we haven't plundered for the round. This Dame the Despoiler is looking pretty juicy. You don't get that ability anyways, but would be kind of interesting. I'm going to go with the Scarthane Stefan here, as the opponent has these Flash Bomb traps. I feel like there's a pretty good opportunity for the Stefan to for the Stefan to get some bonus attack off of a Flash Bomb. So let's just keep going big here. I'm going to Zaunite Urchin away the concurrent timelines. Don't need a second copy. It doesn't do anything. I'm looking to time and dedication onto something. I mean, do we even really need to? We can, like, follow up on this Flash Bomb Peddler if we want. I just don't think it's going to really do anything. Alright, let's battle. So he'll get, like, 1 block with the Flash Bomb Peddler, but the other blocks aren't very good. Okay. Do we want to go ahead and boost the Stefan? I mean, there is like this realistic opportunity for it to deal big damage, like if the Flash Bomb hits it, but I don't think I really want to chase after it. Like, we're adding Trundle this turn, and it's like we're not going to have the time to actually get that unit in for an attack. I definitely want to try and get rid of this Teemo. We'll lead off with the Mystic Shot. I'd like to have some mana left over after this is all said and done. Now we can drop in a Clockling. Probably just want the removal spell here. And I think as this drags on, if we're able to come in and control the Teemos, we should be in pretty good shape. Now, how do we feel about any of these units? The Scout can be powerful, but we don't have any equipments up to this point, so we'll let that one go. I'm going to pick up the Larent Cavalier just as a means to hook down these Flash Bomb Peddlers that are coming out in force. All right. You guys getting bombed. Gotta see how much of that we can just soak up with Trundle. Aw, hit our Cavalier. I was really hoping the Cavalier would get the bonus stats. It's such a good challenger in the face of these Peddlers. But pretty safe. I mean, the Teemos are only at 5, so if he wants to run out of Teemo this turn, we can still try and beam it away. And we now have these very meaty units with Trundle on board, just so good at soaking up that flash bomb damage. Right. Attacks like this are why, you know, like 8 turns ago, I was pretty happy to take down the Otter Post. It just gives us a, you know, it's a great way to just soak up big damage later. And so if we'd been able to attack with Trundle, have that opportunity just to deal more damage. But I think we got to be in pretty good shape now, right? He plays a prank that we don't really care about. He's only got 1 card in hand, so it's going to be pretty tough for him to pop off with all of these peddlers. And then even, what do we have, like 10 flash bombs in our deck? Even if we're taking like 3 flash bombs a turn, Trundle is still pretty good at eating all of that damage up. I dig it. I think it's okay. He really needs like the 4/4 Wump. Just a way to really pop off with all of these dudes. Alright, well, let's add Reggie. None of these are particularly exciting. Like, we are going to want to start banking up some mana for Feel the Rush, but that's a few turns away. I guess we'll just pick up the Unlicensed Innovation here. I'm not really scared of any of those units they have on board. We'll just pick the biggest one here. Pick the Songstress. Oh, I guess we're not going to be innovating this turn. Nope, you're not keeping that. just absolute nope. So this is gonna be a pretty nice next round, right? We get to drop the Ice Pillar, assuming Trundle doesn't die, and then we just get to play the Trundle Quake and kill the opponent's entire board. You know, I'm not opposed to that. I was hoping the Burblefish would turn up. It did not. It did not. So we'll go with the Wrath of the Freylord. You don't get the play ability. You did get to see the Old Timer in there. That is another style of Ice Pillar deck, to where you can play the Ice Pillar, then you can play the Old Timer, and then bounce your opponent's entire team. Not what we're really looking to do here today. So now the opponent's entire team can't block. We've got 22 into 16 with no cards in hand. That should be enough to do it. GG. All right. And so, yeah, I didn't stop too much to talk about the, what's your name? He's the new Improvise unit. The name's covered up. It's still a lab secret on the on the LOR Master Tracker. But it's very interesting that unit was put into Freylord. As I was building this deck and thinking about things like Jax Ornn, you now have access to like really high quality Forge units in Freylord between the new Improvise unit along with Combat Cook. And then if you branch out into another faction, you just have such a real high-quality collection of Improvise units that you're able to get access to that you just don't really need to play Jax anymore. It's very interesting how that all kind of played out, in the sense that you used to have to just play Jax for that real density of units if you're playing Jax Ornn. Now you can look to just play Ornn with other stuff, since the Improvise units are so common. But all right, let's get rid of this Buried in the Ice. It shouldn't be too spectacular against Annie Ezreal here, and as I can say from formats past, this is going to be a nightmare matchup. Dealing with Annie Ezreal, we tend to just not be fast enough to actually kill them, and then Ezreal's able to come down and just combo kill us. And so I don't have high expectations for this matchup. Back when we were playing the Timelines in Standard, this was a definite matchup that we were looking to ban. He's getting us good. He's getting those double targets right out the get-go with Pirouette. Not feeling too happy about this. But Innovative Blacksmith here, ready to pop off, ready to get all of this heal in while we're still at 20. I'm ready. Ezreal already coming in. This is a very dangerous Ezreal. I'm wondering if opponent has a second one in hand. It's just, what do you really get out of this Ezreal at this point? The point of damage doesn't matter. He couldn't cast the Mystic Shot. Like, I'm a little perplexed as to why he would just drop this now, unless the answer is he has a second one in his hand. But found the equipment we're looking for. We got the upcycled rake. That's our best opportunity to kind of crash in and actually do something aggressive in the early game here. And so I'm going to look to forge onto the innovative blacksmith, see if we can't really pop off here in the early game. But see, these are all pretty high quality units, right? Between the innovative blacksmiths and the combat cooks. Like, I have no complaints about their level of strength. And so if you are thinking of like Jax Ornn, you just don't need to play you just don't need to play Jax anymore, right? It's pretty bonkers. Feel the rush. It's a big one. That's a big spell. I'll give it that. So let's drop in the combat cook. I think we just need the fish a whack here. The protection we would get out of a quick attack equipment just isn't that important. And see where he drops the Mystic Shot. I'm looking to put the Rake onto the Favored Artisan and then get an open Scout attack next turn. Ezreal's not super close to flipping. We do have the Three Sisters in hand, so we do have a way to potentially say if we can snipe Ezreal off of the board as he's at like 6 or 7 targets. We might be able to do something with that. But, again, I'm a little worried about this. It's rough seeing opponent play Ezreal and not be able to put a hard punish onto this, just not having any removal spells or anything. Alright, not bad though. We got these scouts coming through. Lots of real and raw power there. We can follow up with some of these little dum-dums. I mean, why not? Why not make an attack, you know? Is this gonna aftershock? He aftershocks the blacksmith. I mean, if we want, it's a little dangerous, like going for things like Three Sisters in the sense that this is one of these real like premier spots in terms of getting extra value out of these Three Sisters, but I ultimately worry about opponent just coming in and playing a Disintegrate there. So we'll let that go. We can look to put the combat reel onto one of our different units here. And not worry about our improvise. You know, I mean, we don't need to gain that heal too much anyways. So we'll drop in the combat reel. I mean, we might as well get a Reggie on board as well, right? He wants to block Reggie with Ezreal. It's not super ideal, but it's damage at some point. Alright, these are all turds. I don't think we want Voices of the Old Ones. We do have some expensive cards in our deck, but we've already cycled through most of them. I think we're just kind of stuck with the Transmogulator. We might find some usage out of the Transmogulator with this Tybalak coming on board. Right, if he gets Tybalak, we can either convert him into a bad unit or potentially convert one of our units into it. And so we'll just let that one come into play now. I don't think Revitalizing Roar is really the answer here. And a Clockling. It's not a bad target for Scout. If he doesn't open with Ezreal, we're going to have a lot of opportunity to just throw it in front of Ezreal. So that's good. Do we actually even care about the timelines at this point? We don't have a ton of stuff in our hand, and I feel like if we're going to end this game, it's going to be through Feel the Rush. And so I'm pretty tempted to just get rid of the timelines, pick up the Clockling. We can still play this secondary Clockling this turn, right? It's going to cost 3 mana with the cost reduction here. And then if he starts getting like ultra clever onto these Clocklings, I think that's okay. And then next turn, we can look to next turn we can look to shift our equipment around and maybe get one onto it. Now I'm looking more intently at the timelines as we're able to just play it for free. But yeah, I don't. It's just like when our only option is Reggie, it just doesn't feel that good. But I don't think we're gonna ever play a Trundle or a Combat Cook this game. They're just gonna be too slow. Okay, I'm gonna take the bait on whatever this is. He's gonna have a Disintegrate or something. That's fine. The thing that we were looking to have to do next turn is put rando equipment onto the Artisan so we can get the scout equipment into hand. Now it's just kind of like letting us do that for 2 mana less, while we even got a spell out of our opponent's hand. And so opponent's only got 1 card in hand now, right? This feels pretty decent to me. Gonna be a Tybalak coming at us, but we know he doesn't have any removal. Well, he doesn't have any removal at this point. Not to say that he won't have a removal soon. So let's do this. Let's start with the Rake. And then after we get this attack in, I want to see what happens in terms of playing a secondary equipment, maybe dropping a Fish Whack onto the board here. All right, so we've got the giant Clockling up to this point. The opponent really needs like a Disintegrate or a Scorched Earth to stop this. Now we can switch over the equipment, right? The Fish Whack is a +3, the Scout is a +2. That's going to get us to that exact 8 that we need for the lethal here. Rip. GG, my dude. GG. Sometimes you don't even need that timelines, am I right? You just say, watch this. Watch this. I got some equipments. I got some rando elusives out here. Feels good. Feels good. Ain't nothing better than coming out and getting some lethals, you know? Playing that augmented experimenter aggro. Good stuff. All right, the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Annie Jin coming at us, another weak point for us. We're really looking to come out here and play against mid-rangey kind of decks, right? We want to play against something like Scouts, right? Where they're trying to just kind of play a fair game up the curve. This is a deck that performs very well against, if you're looking at the aggro to control spectrum, it plays very well in the middle. It doesn't play fantastically at the early end against something like Annie Jin here, or at the top end like that Ezreal deck. That again, that we managed to take down Ezreal, but that matchup is abysmal. But I'm curious to see how this one goes. We have this nice curve of favored Artisan on turn 2. It's going to put the Forge card into our hand. Ooh, I think we want to wait on that timelines. And then on turn 3, we can drop in the Blacksmith, start doing a little bit of heal. And then on turn 4, we'll have that Forge card in our hand to where we can get an additional heal out of the Blacksmith without doing any equipping or whatnot. Just get the Forge out of it. Gotta take the Pan of Pain here. No way we're looking to take a can't block equipment on this board. But we're ready for your Boom Crew. That's for certain. He's got to attack with at least one. Not surprised to see both come in. We'll prevent all the damage that we can here. Not a terrible spot to be in. We're probably not going to get to add a unit this turn. But we get to bring the squad. We have the 2 burn spells in hand, and we'll get to play the timelines and the time and dedication this round. So that's all pretty good. So I'm not particularly even worried about this Annie. So I'm looking to, I want to forge our unit. I want to get that that bonus health, that extra strength on the blacksmith. The blacksmith now a pretty reasonable blocker in the face of Annie, and then we have a choice if we want to burn spell her down or if we want to deal with some of these other dum-dums. And there is a little worry about Annie getting to stick around. Maybe we'll go ahead and just thermogenic beam her away. Like, these attacks for the opponent still kind of suck here, right? He's not going to be happy about attacking into our board. And so if he wants to add a unit next turn, then we still have the opportunity to Mystic Shot something. So ideally, we won't be playing Trundle. We'll have to see how the mana spend here goes, but... Ooh, the blacksmith comes in. So we still get the heal for this round, right? If we play the blacksmith, we have this other blacksmith on board. And so that will let us get the point of heal since we'll get the equip on the singular one. Now, I'm looking to just Mystic Shot and hit this Boom Crew rookie. It's tough. Like, he's only got the one good attacker at this point. If we can take the rookie or if we can take this other dum-dum off of the board, I'm going to target the other dum-dum just to... right, he's going to deal damage without getting into combat. And then if opponent has a stun unit here, then we're still in a good spot. Stellacorn, boom. Well, there was actually... I Stellacorn boomed that one a little bit too quick. There was the other... The Shadow Isles unit in there as well. We could have taken a different drain unit. I boomed that one a little bit too quick, but that's definitely a good hit, getting an equipment onto a drain unit. Alright, GG. On to the next one. We'll see how many games we get in here today. I think I'm going to stop this video at 5. I need to kind of peace out a little bit earlier today. And these games typically go a little bit longer. As I was getting in a lot of my practice games at the gym today, I think I only got 2 practice games in because these things can really turn into a grind fest. And so, kind of is what it is. That's the way the struggle goes sometimes, you know. You gotta cut your games a little short. But man, it was a sad day at the gym. I don't know why. I guess you need like content and it's current, but they were showing replays of the Lakers just losing in the in the Western Conference Finals, and I was like, I don't need to relive this. I'm sure the people in Denver are stoked to be seeing this going on, but it's not what I really need to be seeing. But out of these, I'll just go with Feel the Rush. I don't suspect we're going to need any of those other cards. Ballistic Bot, I forgot you're back in your kind of classic form. I don't think we're going to really like spend the mana on this, but it's still, you know, a pretty reasonably statted unit. It's kind of nice and defensive here as we just need a little bit of time. And we might actually use this ignition ability. But I think I like having the 3 health just a little bit more than having the 2/2 stat line off of the stance swap thing. But, I mean, this is also kind of useful generating these ignitions and just letting us discard them to Zonite Urchin. And so it's not completely useless here. So we don't want the Shepherd's Hook. Now looking at these new ones, it's interesting with the Electro Rig, like we don't have to support using it. You can just attack with it way out to the right, but I think I'm just going to start picking up these 3/3s now and going for the higher statted units. Opponent's going to have Powder Monkeys for a few turns, so we're not going to be getting spectacular attacks for that long. But we have the fearsome equipment, so this big unit is going to get to attack. Alright, in with the Clockling. Huh. I guess it's just gotta get Tryndamere out of this one, right? Is it okay to pass up on Ithid Stairs? We're just gonna say, what up, it's turn 7 Tryndamere? Are you used to that? Sure. And what else do we got? Ambitious Cultist is a fantastic hit with these. To where all these other cards have been kind of like summon abilities and you don't get it, the Ambitious Cultist we do get the free spell out of. Right, because we played an equipment on our Xenotype researchers over here. We hit the world-class Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Not the not the greatest one, but we'll do with it what we can. Do we want to play it just to go ahead and make our Ballistic Bot a 2/2 and then we can attack through the Powder Monkey? I think that's okay. And then this Twisted Fate is a must kill. You can kind of slow play Twisted Fate a little bit, but all the Twisted Fate decks I've been seeing these days are trying to use loaded dice. And if you see Twisted Fate on the board and your opponent play loaded dice, you better fucking kill him fast, right? I still don't think loaded dice is a very good card, but if your opponent's going to get to spew off like 3 and 4 and 5 cards with Twisted Fate on board, you're gonna regret it. Where you at now, Steve? You got one card draw on you. He's played Twisted Fate. We should probably just use the Twisted Fate emote, right? Celebrate a little bit with Steve out here. Yeah, he's definitely playing the loaded dice deck. Alright, so Blacksmith again. We'll take the quick attack. I don't want the can't block thing. Then coming out of these, the Practical Perfectionist is a strong unit to have quick attack. That's going to be a reasonable choice. We'd just be falling to 17 here. Like, this isn't a very necessary block. I think you have plenty of time in this game, but this just feels like one of these games to where if we just don't die, then we're going to be okay. And so while I'm not, amped about the prospects of making that, fairly bad block while we have pretty much infinite health, I really feel like this is, if we just play this game super conservatively, we're gonna win. And so we'll just let that one fall. All right, opponents got their last Powder Monkey. Let's do a little bit of cycle here. Might as well get rid of the Concurrent Timelines. No reason to play the second one. Acorn is a reasonable 1-drop. Cheapen up this Feel the Rush that we're brewing our way up to. Feel the Rush costs 11. We can play it on our turn 8, and so don't really need to play Twisted Fate on turn 7 unless he's going to be presenting lethals. Okay, pick up the Overwhelm. We're looking pretty good here, though. I think we'll realistically just play Tryndamere next turn on turn 7 and then open attack on turn 8. Takes our Castaway. Alright, well, here comes the team. I'm not going to play the Ignition just yet. I want to hang on to this 3-bank. So if we do roll into turn 8 and want to Feel the Rush our single copy of Trundle, then yeah, that's an option.
Take it up with my friends. Found some flotsam.
Okay, feels good. I mean, I think we're still just super far ahead. Got a million dudes on the board. We're about to drop this Tryndamere next turn. Everything looking good. Opponent nabbed our timelines, huh? Alright. It's been done. It's been removed. Alright, let's be real. We're gonna Feel the Rush next turn. We're not gonna play Tryndamere here. And so we can still add a bit of this stuff to the board. We probably it's like I kind of look towards Favored Artisan just a little bit, since we can actually play the Forge next turn. With 8 mana and a 3-bank, Oh, that's just 11, isn't it? We don't get to play any cards next turn. Okay. So yeah, Field of Rush it will be. There's a big boy. Look at that. He's just pulling the full combos off on us, huh? He nabs both the Concurrent Timelines and the 8-cost unit. That's pretty good, my dude. That's pretty good. Do we want to lead in with Combat Cook? I think this is fine. Let's just look for the trade here. I'll pick up the Panapane just to get the additional health. And then we need to have 4 attack. We'll have 4 attack across the board here because the Pan's are going to give +3. The City Breaker is what would actually prevent the most damage here, though. Assuming opponent wants to take a hook in on this board. We just take 0. Again, just keep up this really conservatively styled play. Might as well drop an Ignition now. We're not going to play any more cards this turn. I don't want to put Pharaoh's Fancier on the board and then let opponent just overwhelm into it for 6. It's just, again, as long as we don't die, we're going to be okay. Now we get to feel the rush and say, check it. Check it, friend. Say, dang, Buster, units are so big. Thinking back to that turn where we took the Tryndamere, and I know like I intended on just playing Tryndamere and attacking with it, but I'm curious if we shouldn't have just taken the Ithid Stairs. Just to leave the Tryndamere in our deck to get that value out of the Field of Rush, since we already had the Field of Rush. Did we already have the Field of Rush? I'm pretty certain we did. Oh boy, and our Unforgiven Cold? Oh man. Oh man, the Have-It-Alls. The Have-It-Alls from our deck. Opponent just says, watch this. I'm going to play all the shitty cards in the format. And then I'm just going to take your actual good cards. That's that's how we're going to do it today. All right, Ibaros comes online. Not a real problem. LOL. I guess Brightsteel Formation is a reasonable unit, but I don't think that's what opponent really wanted. These cards all suck, man. Riot's really been turning up this 8-cross space, but I guess Xenia's okay. She's going to be a somewhat scary elusive with an equipment attached to her. I'm gonna go for the Entomb on this one. Just get the unit completely removed. Got a +3 on the Panapane. I'm a little worried here as to whether or not we should actually play units. I mean, I'll bring it, I guess. There's with our Unforgiven Cold just picked up, opponent shouldn't have any more of our good cards. Oh boy, he swindles. Oh, he snapped that one off. He just swindled our Unforgiven Cold, didn't he? Okay. I guess. What more can you say in that spot? I mean, we could have put more units on the board or something, but okay. See what Reggie hits. He might be close enough to hitting something. And he got Shock Blast is one away from a kill. We want out of here. Big old mad old Babs. Maybe she'll get some bonus health in this one. And then we have 2 Mystic Shots left in our deck. I think Mystic Shot's something worth digging for with the Augmented Clockling here. Didn't find it, but we can Zonite Urchin. Discard an equipment. We're not going to use it. What else do we got? Might as well put one on board, right, huh? We're just going to overbank here. Okay. Alright, well, let's see what kind of bullshit we can get into this turn, huh? Let's see. Let's see. Buried in ice. Alright, well, it's not going to kill us. We have the Unforgiving Cold in hand. But that is an annoying one. I'll give it that. No need for Feel the Rush. I don't really want any of these. Feel the Rush just fills out Trundle, and we don't have any space on board for it anyways. I'm actually just going to skip over this one. You can turn into a potential Overwhelm. Spike a Trundle. Alright. I've run into this bullshit spot before as to where you're playing against the dumb nab deck, and you need to just play the unit so that your opponent doesn't have access to your card. But alright, whatever. So we'll get Trundle on board. Buried in ice of our own. Probably going to be dropping that, but let's get the ice pillar down first. This landmark is Augmented Cluckling, Trundle, Tryndamere, Zinnia. Okay, let's get rid of the Cluckling. Just that Burblefish turning up. This is the time. This is the time for Burblefish, right? You get that opportunity to just punch in and then kill him with a Shock Blast. I'm going to take the Dreadway, but... That's the time, dudes. That's the time right there. Alright, what bullshit you got for us now? It's so wild. It's like none of the cards in the opposing deck have been relevant. They have just been 100% pure garbage the entire way. the only cards that have been relevant this game have been the ones coming out of our deck. It's insane. Alright, you play a do-nothing unit, deal 6 to the Nexus, 6 to a unit. See if that's going to be enough to call it a day. Alright. Oof, what a struggle, man. What a struggle. But at the end of the day, victory unlocked. Let's get ourselves into a final battle here. Again, if you're new to the channel, we usually do 8. I like to keep the videos about an hour long, so if you want to just see the intro in a game and leave, then you can just stick around for 10-15 minutes or whatever. But if you want to see us get a good sample of the ladder, and you get some good kitty action and chit chat about life and stuff, you can stick around for the full hour. But I gotta cut it a little bit short today. We're at just over the 40-minute mark as well, so we'd only maybe be able to get in one more game after this one. All right, so up against Draven Scion, I have to assume this is discard Draven, and it's kind of interesting, right? I'm typically on board with just mulliganing really heavily for that for the concurrent timelines, but this is a reasonable start in the face of the discard aggro deck. Let's just pause for a moment, see if we can wait on spending this mana. I don't quite want to be discarding Mystic Shots, and I want to get full value out of this innovative Blacksmith if we can.
The Wheel of War turns ever onward.
He drops a Grenadier. We're okay just to take a bit of damage here. Let's Mystic Shot the one dude. If he has any additional discard to put, like, Jury Rigs onto the board, it's not that big of a deal. Alright, yeah, let's get the Blacksmith down. Again, I don't expect big things out of this. I don't expect this to gain like 10-15 health, but 2 or 3 points of health can be the real make or break it point against these style of decks. And so here, I went with the combat reel over the scout equipment. I want to be able to sit on this 2 mana next turn, and so we can try and play off all of our cards, but still be able to Mystic Shot if we need to, or as it looks now, Thermogenic Beam this Draven. I've been thoroughly impressed with Favorite Artisan. We played a lot of Ornn towards the end of last season, and it does quite a bit of work. Like, you don't expect too much out of it, but If at worst it's just a loyal Badger Bear, right? It can just be a 3/4 for 4 if you play nothing on turn 1, then you have the 3 mana to make a 3/4 on turn 2. But then it also has this generated card that we could have discarded to Zonite Urchin. It has just a lot of value that gets attached to it. So, all right, Draven out. He's been removed. Opponent didn't have that card that makes it so he can't go below 1 health. That would have been a real pain point if he rummaged that thing away. I gotta think that we're in pretty great shape now. Would be nice to find a timelines or something, but we've really quelled the aggression here. Maybe I'm thinking too much about discard aggro with Jinx as compared to what we're actually playing against here. And this is more mid-rangey with the Risen Riders and the Twin Blade Revenants and the Scions at the end of the day. Let's send in Trundle. If he takes the block with the Revenant and then has a Mystic Shot, I'm kind of okay with it. It's just a very time-consuming sequence for the opponent in dealing with a unit that I don't really care about all that much. Trundle is nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm not really attached to this Trundle. Alright, Pharaoh's Fancier comes in. It's like, I just see the expensive ones, right? I immediately get drawn to things like War Mother's Call. I think we just want Progress Day here. You know, we haven't found a timelines, and so being able to just grind away with this thing sounds pretty appealing to me. Bringing it in.
Watch your toes. Nothing's tougher than a troll.
It's gotta be good, right? You heard it here first. It's gotta be good. Wowzers. Wowzers, just throwing away the whole team? Interesting. Well, I'm going to keep up this mana bank. The only thing that really scares me at this point is if he's able to get Scion going. And so if we just kind of like say, okay, well, Scion is the scary thing. I need to hang on to this Buried and Ice. I think I feel pretty okay with what's happening here. Then we have the combo. The Ithid Stairs plus Buried and Ice combo just to blow up all the landmarks. Tryndamere, Cluckling, and the Timelines. The Timelines finally turns up. Okay. I don't think we'll have time for all this nonsense next turn to play an Ice Pillar and a Buried and Ice, but I'm feeling much better about this game. Gotta be okay. Ice Pillar in. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about it. Do we just want to go with the big one? We're not gonna. We don't have any dragons in our deck. I don't think that's the one to to pay much attention to. Now let's see if he adds any more units. If he sends it back to us, this game's done. Like I think this game just has to be done either way. If he sends it back, we'll Buried and Ice his team. If he plays another unit, we'll Buried and Ice that one away and just still just have our way with what he's doing. And so GG, not a bad set of battles. Took our way out of the depths of iron and right into bronze. Good deal. We could pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. And so, you know, good stuff. I feel like we got to hit on a lot of the topics of things that this Timelines deck has that are different from the Timelines decks of old, in the sense of playing things like Augmented Clockling that then gets to kind of tie in to the Concurrent Timeline. So we have this really fantastic Predict card that can find the timelines and let us then play it for free, or the kind of classical sense with the timelines, just having a 4-cost unit that draws a card is a pretty good deal anyways. But the big one to really talk about with this one was the Innovative Blacksmith. Just an absolutely fantastic card, right? You don't have to think about playing things like Jacks just to get all of these improvised units into our deck. We just have all of them that we naturally need, right? We're not even playing the full 9 of improvised units just because it's so easy to get access to them. And so this is, again, a fantastic unit. It plays very interestingly in here as either just a nice turn 3 value play with the timelines, or something that can help you gain 3 and 4 health across the course of the game, which, again, doesn't sound like much, but as these games can become very, very close in Eternal, those few points of health can really matter. And so very interesting unit to be added into the game, and one that should definitely have an impact even in the lands of Eternal. And so, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. So this is Bustin'. We thank you for being here.